What's going on, everyone? Talon here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. Alright, so in this one here, we're going to be taking a look at the new CTPs. So yes, with this update here, it looks like we're getting 3 new CTPs, so I thought I'd kind of give my thoughts on them and go over them a little bit here in this video. But do keep in mind, I am still on the pre-update version of the game. This is the APK, so it is still subject to change. So there could still be some minor tweaks to these CTPs from now until the live version. And also this video is brought to you by Netmarble and the Star Agents program. But let's go ahead and see what the current iteration of these 3 new CTPs are looking like. If they do not change, then you can expect to see this, but if they do, then we'll see what happens. This is the first one here that I have, and it is, oh yeah, it doesn't tell you the names of them right here. What was this one? The CTP of Insight? CTP of, okay, so there's a CTP of Insight, CTP of Greed, and a CTP of Justice, or wait, what is the, you know what, I can just go to the inventory here, go to the custom gear, oh gosh, scroll all the way down through all of these obelisks. Okay, CTP of Insight is this funny little microphone that we have here, and then we have the CTP of Judgment, and then the other one, the CTP of Greed is, where are you? Right here, CTP of Greed. Alright, so the CTP of Greed is looking like a really good PvP CTP because we have the guard break immunity, which is very valuable in PvP. We have ignore dodge, again, very valuable in PvP. And then we have a heal, 10% max HP, because this is a maxed out one right here. So 10% is what we get. The ignore dodge, I think, goes up to like 35% or something like that. And then 150 is also max for the type advantage here. I don't know what we're going to call this, but you get a 150% increase to damage dealt against speed universal or blast and combat, so basically against everything. I'm not sure why they separated it right here. Maybe putting all 4 of them on the same line was a little, I don't know, a little difficult or something like that. It's for 5 seconds on a 12-second cooldown, but it just activates on its own because, as you can see here, there's no chance when attacking, chance when hit. This just cycles through, so it's going to be active for 5 seconds, and then from that you have 7 seconds of downtime. Once that 7 seconds has passed, you have another 5 seconds of this 150% increased damage. So it's just going to cycle like that, so there's no chance of it not activating. You don't have to worry about that. So I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I mean, it's good because you can use it right away, but in PvP for like timeline, you have to wait for all of your skills to come off a cooldown. So for the first 5 seconds here, you're waiting for your skills, and then when your skills come back, this is going to be deactivated already, and you have to wait 7 seconds, and then it'll be active, and then you can start using your skills to get more damage. So I'm not really sure how I feel about that. But anyway, and then it's got some weird text here. The effect of increasing damage is increasing and activated. Okay, whatever that's supposed to mean. I think it just means your damage is increased by that 150% and it's activated. So it just activates on its own. No need to trigger or proc it. So yeah, overall for this obelisk here, like I said, I think it's going to be a really good PvP obelisk. I'm not really sure how good it's going to be in PvE. Because guard break immunity is still very valuable in PvE, and so is ignore dodge, but it's only 150% increased your damage, so I think a regular damage proc obelisk, like a 200% proc, is going to be a lot better than this. But again, this is going to last for the entire 5 seconds, so kind of like a rage, it is just activated. So during that 5 seconds, no matter how many skills you use, you're always going to be dealing 150% increased damage, but you have to wait even longer because it's on a 12-second cooldown, whereas normally it's a little less than that, right? Yeah, it's only 7 seconds normally, so yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's for PvP. I don't think it's going to replace any PvE obelisk, and that's the first one here, the CTP of Greed. So let me know what you guys think about this one below. And then if we move over here, we have the CTP of Insight, and this one is also a maxed one right here. So, well, not maxed in terms of the max HP and all defense, but in terms of the secondary stat. So the CTP of Insight is going to give max HP, it's going to give all defense, and then has a 10% chance when attacking, so kind of like a normal damage proc, to apply to all allies, not just yourself. This is all allies. Increased damage dealt to superheroes and increased damage dealt to super villains. If it's not maxed out, you only get like one of them. Like, see right here, it's only a super villain increased by 10%, and this one is Same thing, superhero and 10%, but you get the superhero as well. And like I said, yeah, it goes up to 20% max, and you can just put this on any of your support characters. Put it on your Coulson, put it on your Wave, put it on your Valkyrie, put it on a leadership too if you want. Put it on like your She-Hulk, your like Misty Knight if you use Misty Knight a lot with Luna Snow. And then you're set, because this applies to all allies. So it's kind of like having two procs or two triggers for your character, because when you switch over to your main DPS, you're going to see two custom gear icons at the top of the screen instead of your normal just one for your CTP or for your Obelisk. And then they both proc independent of each other, so each of them have this 10%, so they can get, you know, a little bit off kilter in terms of which one is procking when. But I believe your Obelisk or CTP is always going to show up in the first slot, so you can always, you know, make sure to trigger that one on your main skill that you want your damage proc on, and then you have this one activate just in, you know, whenever to get this extra 20% damage. And again, this is just activated, so over that 5 seconds it's always going to be activated. It's not for one skill like a damage proc. It's similar to a CTP of Rage, where it just stays active for the 5 seconds on a 7-second cooldown, and you cannot have two characters with these CTPs on them, because it says duplicate coverage of the CTP overall effect on team is not allowed. So you can't have your leader and support with one of these on for both of them, and then also have it apply to, you know, 2 times to your damage dealer. That's not how it's going to work. But overall, it looks like a fun Obelisk for your support characters. If you pull it, then you're like, okay, hey, I got an extra 20% damage that I can do with my DPS. But besides that, I mean, I don't think it's anything too crazy. I mean, 20% is nice, but yeah. All right, moving on to the last one here, which is definitely the most interesting one, and the one I am most excited about is the CTP of Judgment. So CTP of Judgment here is a elemental based CTP, so it's really nice. So we have all attack increase, very good. Then we have chain hit damage, again, very good. 10% chance to activate when attacking, so it is a proc. And then it's going to apply to enemies, decrease all resistances by minus 30%. And yes, that is maxed, so 30% is as high as it will go. And then also apply to self, increase all elemental damage by 200%. Again, that's the highest that it will go, 200% for 5 seconds. So that is pretty nice. Similar to a CTP of Rage, it is another one that just activates, and during that 5 seconds, you will always have this damage increase for elemental attacks. It's on a 7-second cooldown. So this one right here is fantastic. This can be really good for any of your elemental damage dealing characters. I have tried it out just a little bit. I was trying it out on Thor. So if we go over here and load up Thor, I have a CTP of Energy on him right now. And I was just trying to compare the two, CTP of Energy with the CTP of Judgment, and it looks like the CTP of Judgment is doing a lot better than the CTP of Energy on Thor here. Of course, I haven't compared it yet to a CTP of Rage, so I'm not sure if this is going to be better than a CTP of Rage, but we can go ahead and do some quick comparisons right here against Ebony Moss. So was 37 as high as I could go? Yeah, it is. Okay, so oh, I still have this team loaded up here, so let's switch it out for Thor. There we go. Load in with Thor. So this is with a CTP of Energy, and we can get a quick kind of baseline of his damage here. And I do kind of know what to expect with the Energy, and I know what to expect with the Judgment, but again, I haven't tried him yet with the CTP of Rage, so I don't really know what to expect here on the test server in terms of damage for that. So let's go ahead and switch over to Thor. We'll let Ebony teleport. We'll try to... Okay, we'll try to not proc at all, so let's wait for our 5th skill to come back. Oh, now you proc, eh? Fantastic. You know what, let's just try again here. Thor is, I guess, a little bit annoying to get your Obelisk to proc for some reason. I don't know why. It seems like he has a lot of hits on his 5th skill, but it just never seems to proc on it, for me at least. Alright, so here we go. Attempt number 2. Let's try to get that CTP of Energy to work for us this time. Alright, Ebony. Okay, this CTP of Energy, man, I think we have a faulty one on Thor here. We have a faulty CTP of Energy. Oh gosh, get in there. All right, Thor, or CTP, you need to activate for me here. He does about 40% of Ebony's bar, so 40% of a bar with the 5th skill is what normally happens if you get it to proc at the start of the skill. So let's see if we can finally get that so I can show you. Alright, so switch over. Come on, proc. Didn't proc. Alright, well, let's just do a rotation here, and we'll show you. Alright, so now let's wait for a 5th skill. And it procced a little bit here. Anyway, it usually takes like 2 skill rotations to get a full bar down for Ebony here with a CTP of Energy. So now let's go ahead and switch over the CTP of Judgment and see what kind of difference we can find here. Alright, so now we have the CTP of Judgment on him. We're going to go ahead and see what kind of difference we get here. Watch this one proc at the start every time just to show off a little bit more. But let's find out. Oh, missed the joystick there. Oh, and it did proc right at the start like it's supposed to. But as you can see, it does less damage for the just 1 skill hit, but after that it starts doing a lot more damage because it stays activated while using his other skills. So we can see here he's definitely doing a lot more damage with the CTP of Judgment here. So let's try to stop getting guard broken here. Yeah, so the damage is definitely a lot better, so I'm really happy about that. I don't know, I'd say it's like twice as much damage or something like that because you get like 2 skills in during the duration of the activation, or the activation in this case. So overall, I think this is going to be definitely better than a CTP of Energy on any damage dealing character because you still get the chain hit damage, you get all attack, and then you get the just flat elemental damage boost, which is fantastic. So now let's go ahead and try out Thor with the CTP of Rage because I don't really have a baseline for that. So let's see if the CTP of Rage is going to outshine the CTP of Judgment. Alright, so final test here with the CTP of Rage to see if that one is going to have a better effect or not than the CTP of Judgment here for Thor. Alright, let's go ahead and switch on over. Go here, and of course miss the activation because that's par for the course. Get guard broken a ton, so none of my skills hit. That's pretty much also expected by now. Can we get an activation here? Thank you. Alright, that was a pretty bad showing. Alright, let's just reset here. Alright, let's pretend this is the start. Activate. Yes, there we go. I want to say the damage is very similar. So it's looking like a CTP of Judgment is going to be just as good as a CTP of Rage for Thor. At least that's the vibes that I'm getting here. So I'm thinking it's going to be a very good alternative to a CTP of Rage on elemental damage dealing characters. You know, I can't say for sure, but that's just what it looks like to me, that it is performing just as well as a CTP of Rage for elemental damage characters, which is fantastic because now you have 2 options for them. You don't have to feel like you need to put a Rage on them. If you get the CTP of Judgment, then you're going to be set for any damage dealing character or any elemental damage dealing character. But let me know your thoughts on these CTPs in the comments below. Are you excited about them? Are you disappointed with them? Are you thinking we don't need more CTPs? So yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about these 3 new additions here. Overall, I mean, I'm happy with them because they don't seem to be doing anything too extraordinary that we can't already do in the game. I mean, we get a little bit of extra support with that CTP of Insight, so we do have that, or CTP of Greed. What was it again? I've already forgotten which one. Greed, yeah. The CTP of Greed on your support characters get that extra 20%. So it's kind of like having, what would that be, 65% on like your Coulsons, your Valkyries, or stuff like that. So that could be pretty nice. And then we have the CTP of Insight, which looks like it's going to be a good PvP option, but I don't know if it's going to be necessarily that much better than any of our other current options because it doesn't have invincibility. It's mainly just for damage. And then we have the CTP of Judgment here, which is looking fantastic actually for elemental damage dealing characters, but it seems like it'll have a very similar effect to a CTP of Rage that we already have currently in the game, so that's why I don't think it's going to do anything too crazy that we can't already do as of right now. But those are just my early thoughts on these CTPs. We need to do a little bit more testing with them, wait till they're in the live server to see if any of things change in terms of the values or the stats that we get with them. So yeah, that'll be it for this video here. Hope you guys enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.